Hello everyone, good afternoon. You're welcome to another edition of the Carol Azama Show. My name is Carol Azams and I am your host. Today on the show, I have with me a woman who has fought and survived lung cancer. Meet my guest on the Carol Azama Show, Trevaskis. Anna, welcome to the Carol Azama Show. I'm glad to have you with me today. How are you doing?
Hi, Carol. Thanks for having me. It's a real honour to be here. I mean, I've known you now quite a while. From the first time I met you, I've been watching your career, and it's great to see an Irish strong woman flourishing her way and progressing through this world. So it's a great honour to be on your TV show. I'm great. I'm really good. I had a horrendous lockdown like everybody else in the world, but I'm getting back out and I'm free again. So I'm very, very happy.
So, Anna, tell us about your journey. When were you first diagnosed and how did you find out?
It was back in 2016, and we had a big summer of housing protests, and we went on the street a lot and lots of occupations at the council and stuff. And I had got what I thought was glandular fever. I'd had glandular fever as a teenager, and it comes back every few years if I'm run down. And you know, when you're involved in these campaigns, you get run down quite rapidly. And I went to my GP about it because I knew I needed an antibiotic. And the antibiotics didn't take down the swelling in my glands, and he ordered an ultrasound for me, and I went to look and set the ultrasound. And they said, no, nothing there, we're looking for your grants. And 2 months later, I got pneumonia. And so I was really run down. I knew I was taking vitamins, I was doing all the stuff you're meant to do, but no, I wasn't building myself back up. And I went to GP and he sent me off for a chest x-ray right away. And because I have a syndrome called Putz syndrome, and basically with this syndrome, it gives me a 97, it causes polyps in the intestine and in other parts of the body, in the duodenum, and then when it goes outside the intestine, there's a 97% chance these polyps turn into cancer. And so I live with that. I was diagnosed when I was 27, and there's improvements in this all the time. It was extremely rare, and I know one person outside of our family with Putz syndrome. So that's how rare it is. Like I passed it on to my son and my daughter, and my 2 nephews had it. My mom and my sister had it as well. Like, it's something that we've been living with all our entire lives, and to know that you have this loaded gun at your head for your entire life, it's something, it's a lot to carry some days, and you know, other days, you know, you don't even think about it. So most of the time you don't think about it, especially if you have a good medical team, which we have. So I went to Loughlinstown and I had a chest x-ray, and I knew one of the nurses there, and she didn't tell me, but I sort of knew by her. I knew by her that there was something wrong, and she was like, you need to mind your veins now, you need to, you know, we're going to send you off to the rapid lung clinics. And I went, oh, okay, cool, Fran. Now, I'd lost my sister Ruth to lung cancer about a year and a half before this, and so like I knew that was a major risk with Putz syndrome. I also knew that I had smoked in like 10 years previously, and my mother smoked 100 a day, every day. When I was growing up, in the car, in the house, like everywhere as kids, everything tasted of cigarette smoke. No wonder we all had smokers. But yeah, so that's how. So they give you a arrive at Vincent's for this rapid lung clinic within 2 weeks. It was very, very fast. And you go into the door and they give you this booklet, and the booklet is green, and written on the top of it is, so you have lung cancer. And this nurse is handing these out to people as they're coming in. And there's a woman in front of me, and she's all dolled up, absolutely. I mean, like, she was pristine, she was stunning, and her 2 daughters were with her. And this nurse, and the nurse, no offense meant the nurse, I hope she's not watching this, but she looks like Patsy off Ad Fab, you know, the beehive, everything, and the red lipstick. I later learned her name and all, got to know her a bit better, but yeah. And she handed this woman this book, and the woman collapsed on the floor, screaming, crying. And I was behind her, and I was in my jeans and my ducks and my combat jacket, looking the right out, you know, tug or whatever. And my husband was outside in the car because he couldn't find parking. I was on my own. and this book was handed to me, and she said, don't read it till you come out in the doctor's, and I shoved it in my pocket, and I'm like, and like, I was working through so much in my head, and the clinic was jammerous, absolutely, it was jammerous. There was loads of people, and you were like, all these people can't have lung cancer, there's other conditions, and you know, but no, that's how I was diagnosed.
What sort of treatment did you receive?
What sort of treatment? You think, like, when you go in to the lung cancer place, that everything's going to be rapid and fast, because they send you to the rapid lung clinic, don't they? It wasn't rapid and fast. Like, that was the end of October, and I had to go back in a few times until November. And then they said, look, what we're going to do, we had biopsies and we had bits and pieces, so you were in and out for little tests, and I think by the 10th of November, that was my last one, and they turned around and said, right, we decided what we're going to do, and I said, okay, what are you going to do? And they said, we're going to operate, we're going to remove part of your left lung, and then we're going to look at what they call clean-up chemo afterwards, if it's necessary. So you think, grand, fine, operate, take out the bit of lung that, you know, was infected, and do that. We can do it. I can do that. You know, that's no big deal. I can do that. But we didn't realize there would be no medication. There was no advice. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And we live outside the catchment areas of, you know, these cancer patient things. Like, there's one in Bray, there's one in Mistletoe, but we live in between both of them, and we didn't fall into either of them, and so there was no help. There was nothing, and there was no guidance about telling your children. There was absolutely nothing. And there was no, like, you know, I was like, what do I do? Like, do I start eating differently? Do I do, like, you know yourself, you want to do something. And I went, no. Nothing. No, the ABAB nurse offered me a hug. I want to be hugged by a stranger. My husband's out in the car park. Be hugged by, like, a strange woman who doesn't know me, never met me, and she goes, and when I asked her what can I do, it's like, you know, to try and stop its progress or stop its, you know, because nobody knows how rapid this is. Nobody knows. She just offered me a hug. I went, no, I don't want your hug. I want answers. So, like, I didn't hear anything until the January. And the January came and I was told to come in for, you know, pre-op assessment for a bed on a Thursday. Came in on the Thursday, and they told me they did the pre-op, and we sat down, and I'm very sorry, it's not your turn this week, haven't got a bed for you. I went, sorry, what? And I went, we haven't got a bed for you. But I went through all the, but no, that bed's been taken. And what do you mean that bed's been taken? I know I was indignant. I was furious at this stage. And they were like, yeah, we get 2 beds a week for cancer patients. And if an emergency comes in, those beds go. Oh, those beds are gone. And I said, but that's my life. That's my life. You've just given away to somebody else. And I went, yeah, that's how it works. And it happened to me twice. Second time, I was not taking that lying down. I did not take this lying down. I wept, I screamed, I kicked like murder. I threatened to occupy the hospital when at least 1,000 activists occupied the theatre, that I would take it over unless there was some form of treatment for me. How dare they take my life and just crumple it up on their bed management? Who the hell do they think they were? I went home, I rang Simon Harris, I threatened to sit on his doorstep. I said I'll go down, I knew where his mammy lived, we don't live far apart. And I'll go down now and sit on your mammy's hall door till I get a bed. But I'm not giving away my life. I have a bed management plan. I have a right to fight for it. And that, I was so determined, I was so angry that this bed manager, who hadn't even seen my x-rays, who didn't know my history, who knew nothing about me, could just go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. that person's not going to live. How dare they play God of my life? It was not going to happen. So, in the next week they rang and they said, we have a bed for you. Well, we were in like a shot, and yeah, so had my lung removed on the 21st of January in 2017, and that was the first part of the treatment. And then that took till I stayed in the hospital till the April because there was a lot of infections and afterwards. So I stayed in bed till then, in hospital till the April, and I started chemotherapy on the 4th of April.
So for me personally, I really haven't been close to anyone receiving any cancer treatment. You know, I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for you. Can you tell us what kept you strong during your treatment?
I think maybe the indignity of a bed manager not like being able to choose and play God. That was the first time I told him I'm gonna have to fight for this. I'm gonna really have to put on my nukes and go, come on. And like I'm used to doing that. That's what I do. I was born with 3 holes in my heart, so I was born with me jukes on and me boots on and ready to go. Like I don't take defeat easy. I do take it graciously when I get it, but like I don't take it easy. I don't go down easy at all, and it's just not my way. I'm so used to like when I'm in any given situation in my life, I either can fight my way out of it or I can work my way out of it. I'm afraid to work my way out of it, but if I have to fight, I will. And given the odds that I have in life, between me more with 3 holes in my heart, post-Trevaskis syndrome, and you know, living in the poverty of social welfare in Ireland, that having those odds that are against you all the time, that are stacked up against you all the time, can either make you or break you. And I just made a decision it wasn't going to break me. It was not going to break me. I had 4 kids to live for. They're in their late teens, early 20s, and 2 girls are still in college. They hadn't made their mark in the world. I want to see girls make their mark in the world. Like, you know, they really love me proud. They're great kids. My husband, it's quite funny. My girls came into the hospital one day and said, Mom, they were having an intervention. And what do you mean you're having an intervention? Like, I'm in hospital. He's in hospital for several months. And this is the only time the 3 of them came together to see me. And they were like, yeah, Mom, we've decided you can't die, because if you die, Dad will die. And I go, okay, I don't think that's on me. And they're like, yeah, I can. Dad is our favourite parent, and they are all Daddy's girls. And basically, Dad was not eating properly. He was eating, according to the girls, he was living on custard creams and chippers and nonsense. Like he denies all this, and his waistline denies it too, because he didn't put on a pound, which is not fair, because I lost loads, put on loads, and still put on loads. But the girls had their little intervention because nothing could happen. Perfect parents. But the big bad wolf mommy had to, you know, be there to take care of him. But no, he's really good, and you know, he's the rocks beneath the earth. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not seen, he's not there, but he's just a super strength that holds you up. Like I see something there, I go, and I want to do this, or this needs to be done. He'll go, you go for it, girl, and he just stands there steady like bedrock, and that's what he is. And he's quite amazing, actually. But yeah, I think family, you know, determination and always having to prove yourself was what kept me going. And, you know, the fact that I want to live. I have a lot to give, and I'm not over yet.
It really must be difficult for anyone going through, you know, any kind of medical treatment, let alone cancer treatment. What was the most difficult thing that you have had to endure during the period of your treatment? Did you suffer any side effects?
No, most difficult thing. The first was fighting for a bed, fighting for treatment. Which in Ireland, a lot of people have to do. We shouldn't have to, but we do. The most physical injuring part is the physical pain of the chemotherapy. It gets in your bones and it hurts your bones. But there is stuff you can get that helps. But some people think, you know, when it all ends, you know, the operation's over, the 12 chemos are over, you know, oh, look at her, she didn't even lose her heart, which I didn't. I lost my eyebrow. I'm bloody raging, because I thought I wouldn't have to shave my legs ever again, but yeah, like, you know, Vic is still making a fortune from me. But, you know, people think, you know, oh, look, her hair is back, because I cut my hair, thinking my hair would be gone, and it didn't go. But, people think it's like that, you know, you're better now, you're grand, but you're not. This is years. This is why you don't get all clears for years afterwards, because you still have it in your system. So you have the chemotherapy in your system, you have all of that going through you, and it's going through your bones, and it's going through every aspect of it. So like your nails change, your hair changes, it causes deafness. Nobody has deaf part, and that's the worst part of it. It's actually the deafness. And then mind fog. You get this mind fog, and it's like having Alzheimer's. And years ago, before then they improved chemotherapy, when the first original chemotherapies, when they came out, you were guaranteed to die of dementia. And if you lived, you would get dementia. That was one of the common side effects of it. Nowadays you have a brain fog. So my memory is shite. You won't remember your name, Carol. No, are you Carol? Yeah, I know. But yeah, my memory is crap. Like, short-term memory is crap. Now, long-term memory is grand. But, like, you know, I could walk into the sitting room and, what did I come in here for? You know, or where did I put my phone? And I only put it down 2 minutes beforehand. But, like, it's getting better. The fog is lifting. But then again, the menopause is the first thing that any woman goes into. You automatically go into menopause. Not pre-menopause, just slap bang in the middle of the menopause the day you start chemotherapy. You can tell a man invented chemotherapy, because that side effect doesn't happen then. That only happens us, and they haven't worked to improve that part. But the bone pain, I think, was the worst. That was the worst part of that. It was the thing. But the other part is the mental drainness of a death sentence, because that's what I have. I have a death sentence. Now, for other people with cancer, they don't get that death sentence. They don't have Trevaskis, you know, and that's okay. But when they're diagnosed with cancer, people get that mindset in their head, and it's getting yourself over that mental barrier. Over that mental barrier of, I can survive, and then I will survive, and I am surviving. And, like, you have to live your life for every minute. Like, because you're here for that minute. That's all you're here for. Like, because you don't know if you have the next. But it's having the mindset to get you to the next one. That's the biggest battle that you're going to have.
After all that treatment, Anna, are you now in the clear?
No, I'm only 4 years in remission. So you don't get in all clear to 5th year. And so next year, hopefully. But I don't live like that. I can't live like that. I live my life 6 months at a time to 6 months at a time. And anybody who's been diagnosed with cancer, that's how you live. Because you go from the first year that you've been diagnosed, you have 6 monthly scans, and that's your quarter mile in life. That's what you're racing to. Have that 6 month scan, told you're okay for the next 6 months. And then it dwindles down to yearly scans for normal cancer patients. For people put together, it's over 6 months. 6 month scans. We live our life at a quarter mile at a time. And that's all we have. We were clear, no fight for these 6 months. So then you can live. And then you go through all the testing again. Like for me, I have a yearly MRI scan, the pancreas, I have then 3 monthly colonoscopies and 3 monthly scopes. Then skin cancer has to check, breast cancer, all of these things that come with a diagnosis of Trevaskis, you know, and the lung cancer and scalp cancer, and then you can develop polyps in your nose and your ears and stuff like that. So I have all of these tests, and every 6 months I have to live to get through these tests, and then I can be free mentally and physically for the next 6 months until the test starts again. So it's a cycle that, I mean, it's a never-ending cycle, and I'm going to be off the rest of my life, and that's okay for me. I don't mind living 6 months at a time. That gives me 6 months to live, and then it gives me and prepare to fight for the next 6 months. But for anybody else with cancer, what it is that for the first year you're scanned every 6 months, second year it dwindles down a bit, and then eventually in your third and fourth year it's once a year, and then in your fifth year, once you get your all clear in your fifth year, then your likelihood of redeveloping cancer then is reduced to 12% in normal cancers, which is really good. So, like, you do have a short life expectancy, but you have a longer life prognosis without cancer after that. So it's your fifth year afterwards you're told that, you're clear, and then you're discharged from oncology and stuff like that. But no, I haven't been discharged from oncology yet. I have another year to go from there.
What advice would you give to people? What kind of advice would you give to other people who have recently been diagnosed with any form of cancer at all?
What advice I have for women who are diagnosed with cancer? Everybody, will fill you up with advice. Everybody will tell you to eat the apricot seeds, or to do this and to do that and to do. Don't listen to anyone. This is your journey. It's your cancer. They didn't have your cancer. You have your cancer. Your every journey, every symptom, everything is different. The first thing you need to do is keep a diary. Then you go to the dentist before you start any treatment, because if you get mouth sores, teeth hanging out, stuff like that, you're not going to eat, and not being able to eat means you're going to die. So get your teeth sorted. Get your feet sorted. Infections in your toes will cause you mayhem. And you'll end up being very, very ill. The other thing then that you need to do is don't go spending money on books to, how do I tell my kids I have cancer? You know your kids. You know your kids. You know your family. You sit down and you be honest with them. And tell them everything. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't give nonsense. Like, I lived through that. My dad died when I was 8, and my older brothers and sisters didn't know that my dad was dying, and I was 6. And yet, even though I was the youngest in the family, I knew. And watching them in the devastation they went through after, because they didn't realise how ill our father was. Don't do that to your kids. That's just nasty. You won't be there to pick up the pieces if it happens to you, so don't create more pieces. Just be honest. The other major thing is, as I say, this is your journey. Don't listen to nonsense. Listen to the science. Listen to the doctors. The decisions to be made are your decisions and nobody else's. You choose to put chemotherapy into your body, the doctors will be 100% honest to you. It can kill. It is a poison and it can kill, and it will tell you that. It's the first thing they tell you on your consultation. And that, that's when you put on your big girl blouse and you decide what you want to do. Do you want to die from cancer, or do you want to die trying to fight the cancer? That's the options you have to give yourself. And that's the options the doctors give you. And they don't force anything on you. You make that decision yourself. And they might not be supportive of your decision. But if you can live with your decision, that's what's important. But the most important thing in any of this, the only thing I will tell anybody to take during the whole time of chemotherapy is take water. Don't drink fizzy pops, don't drink nonsense juices, anything like that. They'll turn your stomach. The only thing that's going to get you through this is water. If you can't eat, drink a glass of water. Because we're mainly water, that's what we're made of. So rejuvenate yourself with water the whole time. Just hydrate. The only thing I can tell you to do, and it's the only thing, that I know for me worked. Plus, at the end of it, just great skin, yeah.
And it's been lovely chatting with you. I wish you every good luck. I wish you every good health and the best with any future treatments. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was an absolute joy. Thanks very much.
Lovely. So thank you everyone for watching this episode of the Carol Azama Show. I look forward to coming your way again next time with a new edition and a new topic. Until then, stay fine and God bless. Bye-bye. Yeah.